is down, but they're looking for the killer blow. That's it, back of the end zone. Dagger! He's looking. Jamil's coming. He's moving. He's moving. He's got him. He's got him. It was caught, but Jed has called the sack. Incomplete. He called the sack. It's 2 points to the Hammerhead. An unbelievable sack there by Jamil. Yeah, this is the last game of the day. It's caught and it's in. It's a touchdown.
That's it.
It's a touchdown. The last play of the game. The clock is at zeros. That's it. Your Swansea Hammerheads are advancing to the Division 1 final, having knocked off the 2 seed and having knocked off the 1 seed. Alan Young, you look absolutely stunned.
What do you mean by live? Genuine live?
Yes.
We're broadcasting.
Hello, radio!
And now, a new episode of The Way We HNC It. Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of The Way We HNC It, and only the second ever solo episode with myself. I'm your humble host, Bez Berry. You guys are going to be taking a look around some of the games of the week over the course of the kind of earlier on this week we posted the rankings, we posted the schedule for both divisions heading into this final weekend of National Flag Football League play. A lot of your responses were for the same game, so we know which ones the obvious couple are. But I did a little bit of digging into the standings, into the schedule, and I've tried to come up with a couple that are maybe a little bit below the radar, but that hopefully you guys will be interested in and will keep an eye on as the scores come in over the course of the weekend. So we are going to start in Division 1. Now in Division 1, the one that is obvious, the one that came in the most, the Border City Centurions at 12-2-2 are taking on the 13-3 West Lancashire Serpents. As far as win percentage goes, these two teams are tied on the record, which means that with just the one game day to go, it's unlikely that they'll end up on the same record and that head-to-head will become important. But if it did, the Centurions currently have a 7-point lead in the tiebreak. So if they were tied on record at the end of the year, we need the Serpents to overcome that by 8 points if they want to take on. They need to win this game at the weekend by 8 points if they want to take the tiebreaker. Equally important for the winner of this particular game will be to kick on during the rest of the day and try and build their net points per game score. It's very tight between these two teams, the Centurions, the Serpents, and the Giants Blue over in Sheffield for who will get the second promotion relegation playoff point position behind the Newcastle Blackhawks. The three-way tiebreaker is a bit weird. If you check the blog, you'll see kind of how I did it. I'm not fully convinced that is the answer, but it is certainly an answer. So yeah, just your usual reminder that none of what we put out there is what is written on the official spreadsheet. We're just doing what we can with the information we have available. But yeah, I have ranked Border City over the Serpents at the moment in the kind of region for the playoff position, just because they do hold that head-to-head. But the Giants hold the better net points per game on the same record over the Centurions. So right now, that's how I worked it out. Obviously, we've got a bunch more games to go this weekend, so I'm sure it'll all change. But yeah, I expect there might be some peaking over the Pennines kind of as the results start to come in over the weekend for these two teams, especially for the team that takes the win. Moving on, we're going to head down south. The I couldn't really pick a game of the week for this particular team because they have two massive ones on the final day. So the Cardiff Bay Coyotes, they are currently in the 14th seed because of the Kings squad's forfeiture of the weekend in the Premiership. There's probably going to be, or there will be, 3 playoff spots available for them to try and for the South B teams to try and make a run at the to try and make a run at the Premiership next year. So the Coyotes are in the thick of it. They're in a playoff spot right now, but they haven't clinched. They're also in a promotion spot, but they haven't clinched. And they take on the Gators, who are the 15th seed. They're right behind them in the division, 8-5. And they also take on the 7-6-1 Exeter Falcons, who are the 17th seed. So it's all go down there. They're all going to play each other. The winners of those games, the losers of those games will have far-reaching impacts throughout the rest of Division 1. So we're going to have a look at how, however this plays out is going to be massive, both for the teams involved and the teams around the rest of the league. There'll be some teams that will be looking for a couple of Coyotes wins just because it'll help them out as they battle the teams that are beneath them. The Coyotes, the Sharks B, the Gators, and the Falcons are all in about it. So one to keep an eye on again as the scores come in. As we head back north, the Sheffield Giants Blue at 13-3 take on the 12-4 Leeds Samurai. It's a rematch from the first day of the season. Giants Blue are coming into this one up 10 points in the head-to-head as they're kind of looking to maintain control of that second spot in the fiercely competitive North B division, and they're going to try and push the Newcastle Blackhawks right to the brink. I think Newcastle have not yet clinched, but are sitting at the top of the table in a bye spot. But on the other side, it's only one game in it. Samurai could make a pretty serious move up the table if they take the win here, and kind of maybe get to the edge of the first round bye territory. They would need some help from around the country, but obviously these two teams know each other very, very well, and with promotion on the line potentially, with a first round bye on the line potentially, and seeding all going on the line on this one. I think it'll be quite fiery and certainly one to that I'll be looking out for when the scores come in. And that brings us to the Highland Division 1. We've got the West Lothian Chargers 12-2-1 versus the 8-7 Grangemouth Colts as game of the week here. HNC was kind of trickier this week. While this game might not be the classic that we were kind of hoping for, given that there's some players going to be missing, and the Colts can't catch the Chargers in the standings, the Chargers will be looking to get a bye through the first round, and obviously, should the Mustangs slip up, they've got a shot at the top of the table. The Colts need as many wins as they can get just to try and get into the playoffs. They'll be really targeting maybe the 15th or the 16th seed. They can still make it. It's on the Sunday, so these two teams should both know what they have to do across the game day to achieve their results, achieve their goals. So that is certainly one to keep an eye on, and that's our HNC game of the week. So if we then scoot over to the Premiership, there was absolutely no doubt from you guys what was going to be the game of the week in the Premiership. I'm not super sure that we got any other suggestions other than this one, and that is of course the London Smoke taking on at 12-1, taking on the also 12-1 Reading Devils in what we presume is, barring any massive shocks, the division title match. And also, crucially, one of these teams will fall out of the bye and have to play a wildcard round. I'm not sure. I would love to be told otherwise, but as far as my memory serves, we've never had a team that played the wildcard round make it into the national championship game since BAFA adopted this format. If I am wrong, please DM me. But that's kind of my feeling. So it is a big deal to have to play that extra game. But yeah, I mean, we've got the 2-time defending national champions. We've got last year's plate winners. They've played each other already, and the Smoke took the win. But with that reversal for the Smoke and that big win for Reading against the Hurricanes, we're back on level terms. Head to head now doesn't really matter. So 1 point will be enough for one team to claim victory here. The London Smoke are the hosting team. It's not too far for Reading to travel to Brunel, but we're this is delicious, absolutely delicious. So yeah, keep an eye out on that one. The next game on our little docket is actually the Cardiff Hurricanes versus the Cheltenham Neptunes. Hurricanes at 14-1, Neptunes at 7-7 for a kind of a different reason here. Obviously, on paper, the gap between these two teams and on record is pretty wide. Both will be looking just for a clean day, good performances as we ramp up to September and finals. The reason I kind of thrown it in is the Neptunes just need any non-losing result in one of their two games to clinch. However, a pair of wins would start to get them in range of the 10 seed. They'd kind of start to reach out for the towards the Aberdeen Oilcats, for example. If they were to have a bad day, there could be a return, a kind of a reversal here. It's not quite a playoff game, this one, because the Tunes will have a chance to get their win later on, but this is, it's two probable playoff teams playing each other, and that makes it very interesting. In the north, I did warn you that I'd be looking for something that was maybe a little bit under the radar, and this matchup is one of them. We've got the 5-9 Salford Scorpions versus the 5-9 Wigan Bandits. So the Manchester Titans Bees have to take on the top two in the division, and their remaining game is against Warrington. So it's plausible that they'll get their fifth win. They are currently only on 4. But where it gets interesting is the Bandits have the tiebreaker over the Bees. The Bees have the tiebreaker over Salford, and Salford currently have a tiebreaker over the Bandits by just 6 points. So the loser of this game is going to get dragged right back into the relegation battle. The winner of this game potentially still has a run at taking the 12 seed if Cheltenham completely fall apart and if there is a massive turnover in points. It's super unlikely, obviously, but it could happen. Mathematically, it can still happen. So this game is more important for avoiding that relegation playoff than it is for reaching the Premiership finals. But yeah, I still think it's something to keep an eye on. It's something quite interesting, and 3-way tiebreakers are always something to keep an eye on. So yeah, that's my North game of the week. Obviously, with that being that division being sewn up already by the Crows. In the Highland division, there's a bunch going on here. There's a lot of teams obviously playing each other. 4 teams have already clinched playoffs in Glasgow, Grangemouth, Edinburgh, and Aberdeen, ranked 1 to 4 as it stands. But the main game of the week here is the 2 and 3 game that I've picked here. Edinburgh Outlaws at 9 and 4 versus the Grangemouth Broncos at 10, 3 and 1. In week 1, Edinburgh kickstarted their season by scalping the 2023 bronze medalists by 1 point right at the end of the game. The fact that the Broncos have a tie on the record means that they probably won't be ever tied head to head unless something funny happens elsewhere. But yeah, the winner of this will probably take the outright lead. If that's Grangemouth, they'll probably feel pretty secure in second place in the division. Obviously, if Edinburgh win, they'll take on second place in the division and all of the benefits that comes with seeding. It's a long way for both teams to travel. Again, we might have some hearing that there might be some players not traveling for various reasons, but the forecast is for glorious weather. and I'm going to assume for fantastic football. I'm really excited to see how this one plays out. And obviously we'll have the benefit that I will be there. And yeah, huge impact on seeding. So that's our game of the week. Some games of the weeks, some obvious, some not. But did I miss any? Are there any that you think that are under the radar that I missed that could have a big impact? If there are, I want to know about them. You can comment on Facebook. You can comment on Instagram. You can even comment on Spotify now. So if that's what you're into, please get involved. The more the merrier. And yeah, we'll be sharing the results as they come and trying to get you the standings that we think are correct. But as always, don't book your trip to finals until you've been told that you are in. Thank you very much for listening. That is the way we HNC.